Hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of FASTE English podcast, where we talk about the most debating issues in the society. Today's topic is digital censorship and national security. Should governments have the authority to censor content on the internet in the name of national security? I'm Charlotte, and joining me as always is Liam. Hello, Liam.
Hi Charlotte. Hi everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Today's topic is a very hot one, which is designed to strengthen your listening and speaking capabilities, as well as your vocabulary, grammar, and sentence structure. As you might have noticed, the pros and cons of internet censorship have been at the root of much debate over the past few years. But the pressing question is, how do you find a balance between right and wrong? Today, Charlotte and I will weigh the pros and cons of internet censorship.
Absolutely, Liam. While censorship can protect national security and maintain social order, it also raises concerns about freedom of speech and access to information. But when we talk about national security, I think it's clear that governments need some level of control over the information circulating online.
But internet censorship leads to the loss of freedom and free access to information, regardless of its features. In fact, censorship restricts your ability to view the content you want to see.
But the internet is a place where all ages visit. Nowadays, anyone has the ability to go online, whether they are 4 years old or 84 years old. With the rise of cyberterrorism, false information that mislead people, and the misuse of the internet to promote violence, it's vital that governments have the tools to protect citizens.
I hear your point, Charlotte. But the problem is the bottom line. Once you give governments the power to censor information online, where does it stop? Sure, today they may be censoring content linked to terrorism, but what about tomorrow? Could they start silencing disagreement or suppressing free speech under the cover of security?
But it is supposed to protect people, not harm them. For example, censorship that shields children from exposure to inappropriate or harmful content helps promote their psychological well-being, moral development, and safety in digital environments.
I totally agree with this. But by limiting freedom and restricting the flow of information, people may be deprived of the opportunity to engage with different perspectives and challenge their own viewpoints. This limitation on free expression not only inhibits personal development, but also stifles the exchange of ideas that is essential for societal progress.
That's a valid concern, but we already regulate other forms of media in the name of public safety. There are clear threats to national security. Terrorist propaganda, for example, that should not have a platform.
Yes. But the internet is unique, because it's a space for open communication and global talk. The moment governments start controlling what people can and cannot say, you risk creating an environment where only certain voices are heard, especially if those in power begin to abuse that authority.
That's why we need legal supervision. Governments can't just randomly decide to censor content. They need to follow clear legal guidelines, and there must be accountability. I'm not advocating for unrestricted censorship. I'm advocating for targeted, well-regulated action that specifically addresses threats to national security.
But even with safeguards, there's always the risk of excess. Look at places where governments already censor content, under the banner of security. What started as national security measures, expanded into widespread suppression of political disagreement, and not immune to that risk.
I agree. But let's be real. We're not talking about censoring political disagreement. We're talking about blocking access to content that directly threatens public security. Like instructions on how to make explosives, or malicious projects aimed at destabilizing countries. Governments have a responsibility to act when lives are at risk.
And where do we draw the line between protecting citizens and violating rights? Who decides what content is dangerous? Governments may start with the best intentions, but history shows us that power can be easily abused. I believe that the solution lies in educating citizens about these threats, not in suppressing information. We need an informed public, not a censored one.
Education is important, no doubt. But the internet moves too fast for education alone to keep up with threats. Think about how quickly misinformation can spread. By the time people are aware of the facts, the damage could already be done. Sometimes, governments need to act rapidly to prevent occurring consequences, and that may involve taking down harmful content.
I understand the need for timely responses, but giving governments too much power online is dangerous. If we want to maintain a free society, we have to be cautious when it comes to censorship. There are other ways to handle online threats: stronger cybersecurity measures, collaboration with tech companies, and even international cooperation, without suppressing freedom of speech.
I'm with you on strengthening cybersecurity and international cooperation. But it's naive to think we can handle all these threats without some level of censorship. In extreme cases, when public safety is in danger, I believe government intervention is necessary. However, it needs to be done with supervision and limitations to prevent the abuses you're worried about.
We're definitely on the same page when it comes to the importance of security. But I think the risks of censorship is more than the benefits. They always claim it's for public safety, but when you start limiting what people can say, aren't you just managing how information is presented? It's so easy for them to label anything as misinformation. Who's going to determine what is misinformation and what isn't?
That's completely true. It becomes subjective. What one group sees as freedom of speech, another might label as harmful.
Plus, it's not just social media. Even news outlets and websites might get blocked or restricted to some extent. Once you open that door, it's very hard to close it. We need to trust people to make their own decisions, and have access to all the information, even if some of it is dangerous. Otherwise, we undermine the very freedom we're trying to protect.
It seems we've got a classic confrontation between security and freedom. Thank you, Liam, for sharing your insights. And thanks to our dear listeners. The debate over digital censorship is very extensive, and as technology evolves, so will the challenges.
What's your attitude, dear listeners? Should the internet be censored? Or should everyone have complete and total internet access, regardless of what's out there? Drop your comments and let us hear you.
Yeet, we'll read all and see how well you can explain your opinions. Until next time.